The richest person you have ever met, you almost certainly never knew was rich. And the person you are most sure is wealthy, the one with the new car, the shining watch, the vacations for everyone to see, is very often one quiet, terrible month away from having nothing at all. This is one of the strangest and most important truths about money, and once you understand it, you will see it everywhere for the rest of your life. Real wealth is silent. Loud is usually broke. And there is a reason my grandfather, who had quietly built more than almost anyone on our entire street, told absolutely no one. It was not modesty, it was not shyness, it was protection. And today I am going to show you exactly what he was protecting and why the wisest thing you may ever do with money is to say nothing about it at all. My name is Daiki, I am 28 years old, and I grew up in a house that looked, from the outside, like the house of a family that was just getting by. The old car, the mended coat, the plain ordinary front door. And behind that plain door was a quiet fortune and a set of rules about money that could fill this entire channel, which is exactly what they have done. If those rules have helped you, subscribe and stay with me, because this one, the rule of silence, is the one that protects every other rule you have learned. Let me explain. Let me paint you the two men, because you have met them both, and the whole lesson lives in the difference between them. The first man everyone believes is rich. He announces it in 100 small ways every single day. The car that costs more than he earns in a year. The watch he mentions the price of. The dinners, the trips, the constant gentle performance of success. And when you are young, you look at that man and you think, that is what winning looks like. But I am telling you from a lifetime of watching, that man is very often not rich at all. He is performing rich. He is spending the money the moment it arrives, and often money he does not even have yet, precisely so that you will believe he has it. His wealth is a costume, and it is expensive to keep sewn together. And then there is the second man, my grandfather. You would pass him on the street and think nothing at all. Plain clothes, old car, a quiet, unremarkable life. He never once mentioned money, never hinted, never let a single soul outside our home suspect what he had built. And he had built more quietly, patiently than the loud man could dream of. Now here is the question that matters. Why? Why would a man who had truly won choose to look to the whole world as though he had not? And the answer is the heart of everything I want to tell you today. There is an old saying in Japan, and it explains my grandfather's entire life in a single line. Deru kugi wa utareru. The nail that sticks up gets hammered down. It is one of the oldest instincts in our culture, this deep understanding that the thing which rises above the others, which announces itself, which demands to be seen, invites the hammer. And money is the tallest nail of all. So my grandfather kept his money low and quiet and level with everything around it. And in doing so, he kept it safe from every hammer that comes for the wealth that dares to show itself. Let me show you exactly what those hammers are, because there are several, and every one of them is real. The first hammer is the one no one warns you about, and it is the saddest. The very moment people learn that you have money, you change in their eyes. Not because they are bad people, because they are people. A quiet resentment can creep into a friendship. A brother begins to see you differently. The people around you start, without ever meaning to see you not quite as a person anymore, but as an amount, as a wallet with a face. My grandfather understood that the day you tell people what you have, you can never again be fully sure why they are sitting at your table. So he simply never gave anyone the chance to change. He stayed, in everyone's eyes, exactly what he appeared to be, and he kept every relationship he had clean and true and untouched by the poison of a known number. The second hammer follows the first, and it is the requests. Because the moment your money is known, it stops feeling entirely like yours, even to the people who love you. The loan for the brother-in-law's idea. The help that is asked for once, and then again, and then expected. The money you revealed becomes, in the minds of others, a thing they have a small claim to. And saying no, once they know, costs you the relationship. But saying yes, again and again, costs you the very fortune you worked a lifetime to build. My grandfather escaped this trap completely. Not by being cruel, not by being stingy. He was quietly generous his whole life, but by never letting anyone build their plans around money they thought he had. Silence is what let his generosity stay a gift, freely given, instead of a debt anyone felt owed. The third hammer is the one that quietly destroys the loud man we met earlier, and it is a trap you must understand deeply. The moment you tell the world you are rich, you are on a treadmill, and you can never step off because now you have to keep proving it. The car has to stay new. The next vacation has to be bigger than the last. The image, once built, is a hungry thing that demands to be fed, forever, with more spending, more show, More money poured out the door for the single purpose of maintaining a picture in other people's heads. And so the person who announces their wealth spends it, keeping up the announcement, while the person who says nothing simply keeps it and lets it grow. This is the great cruel joke of it. Flaunting wealth is one of the fastest ways to destroy wealth. The loud man is spending his fortune to look rich. The quiet man stays rich precisely because he never needs to look it. And understand that this trap, which has always existed, has in your lifetime been made 1,000 times more dangerous, because now there is a small glowing screen in every pocket, built for the single purpose of announcing. Every win, broadcast. Every purchase, photographed. Every good month, performed for an audience of hundreds of half-strangers. We have built a machine that begs you every single day to stick your nail up as high as it will possibly go, to show everyone the number, the car, the trip, the proof that you are winning. And that machine is not your friend. It is the loud man's exact trap, handed now to everyone at once, and it quietly pulls a whole generation onto the treadmill before they have earned a single thing worth running for. My grandfather never had to resist this. He lived in a quieter time. You do not. Which means the old rule of silence is not less important in your world. It is more important than it has ever been in the history of money. The fourth hammer is simpler and harder. Safety. A person known to have money becomes, in 100 small ways, a target. For the dishonest. For the schemer with a can't-lose opportunity. For the smooth voice on the phone. For worse, wealth that is known draws people the way a light draws moths in the dark, and not all of them mean you well. My grandfather kept his money invisible for the same reason a wise man does not walk through a rough part of town counting a thick roll of cash in the open. Not from fear, from plain quiet sense. What no one knows about, no one comes for. And the fifth is the one my grandfather valued most of all, and it is a gift, not a hammer. It is the strange, deep freedom of being underestimated. When no one believes you have money, no one performs for you. No one manages their face around you, or tells you what they think you want to hear, or treats you as anything other than an ordinary man. And so you get to see people exactly as they are. You get to keep your peace. You get to move through the world light and unwatched and free, while the loud man is trapped forever inside the expensive, exhausting character he has to keep playing. My grandfather was, in the truest sense, a free man, and a great part of that freedom came from the simple fact that the world had no idea what he was. I remember, once, a man my grandfather knew, a loud man tried to offer him pity. Actually offered it gently, kindly even, over the old car and the plain coat, assuming my grandfather had struggled and scraped his whole life long. And my grandfather simply smiled and thanked him warmly, and said nothing at all. He told me later, on the quiet walk home, that being underestimated by a foolish man was one of the great secret pleasures of his life. He was not insulted, not for a moment. He was free. The loud man went home that night to keep performing his wealth for another exhausting evening. My grandfather went home to a genuine fortune, and a clear conscience, and a deep and private peace that no one could see and therefore no one could ever take. Now let me tell you the deepest thing. The thing underneath all 5 of those hammers, because if you take only one idea from me today, let it be this one. The person who needs to be seen as rich is still poor in the way that matters most. Think about it honestly. If your wealth means nothing to you unless other people can see it and envy it, then you do not really own your money. Their eyes own it. You are working and spending and performing in service of an audience, and an audience is a demanding master that is never once satisfied. But the person who can have a great deal and let no one know and feel completely whole anyway, that person owns something the loud man will never touch. They own their peace. They are wealthy in the only way that was ever actually the point. This is why my grandfather stayed quiet. Not because he was hiding something small, because he had already won the only game that mattered, quietly, inside himself, and he had no need whatsoever for anyone else to hand him a prize he already held. And here's the truth that the whole shouting world will never tell you, because there is no money in telling you. Most real wealth, the genuine kind, is invisible. It is boring. It is the plain house and the paid-off car and the quiet accounts that no neighbor will ever see. The studies that have actually gone looking for wealthy people keep finding the same startling thing, over and over. They are not mostly the ones who look it. They are the quiet ones, the unremarkable ones. The ones next door you would never in 100 years suspect. I have met these people again and again, all my life. The plumber who quietly owned half the houses on his own street. The school teacher who left more behind, in the end, than the loud businessman the whole town had envied for decades. The old woman in the plain, worn coat at the market, counting her coins so carefully, who could have bought the entire market outright and told not one living soul. And every single time, the same quiet shock. The person carried themselves like someone with absolutely nothing to prove, precisely because they no longer had anything left to prove. They already had it. They simply never once needed you to know. The costume of wealth and the substance of wealth are almost never worn by the same person. And once you truly understand that, you stop wanting the costume at all. Let me be straight with you the way I always am, because I do not want you to hear the wrong lesson. I am not telling you to lie to people or to be ashamed of what you have built, or to hide in fear from the people who love you. Shame has no place in this. And I am not telling you to hoard every coin joylessly and never help a soul. My grandfather was quietly, deeply generous his entire life. He simply gave without announcement, which is the purest way to give. And there is one place where the silence does not apply at all, and it matters a great deal. The person you share your life with, your partner, your household, they are not the audience. They are your teammates in every bit of this, and money kept secret from the person you have truly joined your life to is not stealth wealth. It is a crack in the foundation of the very thing you are building. So be silent to the world, yes, completely. But be completely, honestly open inside your own front door. The rule was always about the crowd. It was never ever about the 2 or 3 people who are genuinely on your side. What I am telling you is something gentler and stronger than secrecy. Do not perform your wealth. Do not make it your identity or your announcement or the thing you need others to see in order to feel like enough. Let it be quiet, let it be yours. Hold it lightly and privately and let it do its slow, silent work while you go on being, in the eyes of the world, simply and freely yourself. So here is what I want you to do this week, and it is the easiest thing I have ever asked, and one of the most powerful. The next good thing that happens with your money, the raise, the milestone, the account that finally crossed the line you have been working toward, I want you to do something almost no one has the strength to do. Tell no one. Let it be a quiet, private joy held between you and the people inside your own home. Feel how much stronger it is, unspoken. Feel how it stays wholly yours when no one else has touched it with their eyes. That silence is not emptiness. It is armor, and it is freedom. And it is the beginning of the kind of wealth that no hammer can ever reach. That is how my grandfather did it. That is how my father did it. And it is still how it is done, in any home that remembers. So tell me, in the comments, and here you may finally speak freely because we are all quiet together in this one place. Have you ever known someone who looked rich and was not, or looked like nothing and quietly had it all? Tell me about them. I read every single one. And next time, I am going to answer the last question, the one that has been sitting underneath every single video on this channel, from the very first one. If we save and we refuse debt, and we grow it quietly and we tell no one, then what in the end is all of it actually for? There is an answer, and it is deeply Japanese, and it is the most important thing I will ever say to you. I will see you then.